Morning children, welcome back with the next new session. So in the previous class we have started a new lesson, that is lesson number 14, Mughal Empire from 7th standard textbook. So far we have learned about the new sultans, that means the new Muslim kings have entered into the Indian subcontinent from the places from the Mongolia and all. From Uzbekistan and Mongolia, these people have come from the Central Asian places and they have entered into the India. And from there we have learned that Akbar was the first person, Babur was the first person who has started the Mughal Empire. Okay, where he has ruled only for the 4 years, and that too after defeating Ibrahim Lodi in the year of 1526. Okay, and after defeating him, he has occupied the places of Delhi and started his journey from there. And after that we have discussed about their armies, that is Mansabdars and Jagirdars, isn't it? So that means previously the concept of Kakatiyas and Vijayanagara, same concept of collecting of revenues from different people or different villages in their kingdom was all same common thing. But only one thing was only one thing is, even these people have followed the policy like the Kakatiyas had, that is they did not allow their chief, or they did not allow their this Mansabdars to act as a independently. That means they did not give all the powers. They were sent to some particular places to collect the tax. That too, the period of collecting of tax in one particular places for 2 to 3 years or not more than that, isn't it? Now these were some of the points, or these some of the administrative policies these people have strictly followed. And during the time of Akbar was also, it was strictly being followed in the timing in the collecting of the revenues. So in this part of the lesson we are going to learn about the Zabt and Zamindars, about the Zabt and the Zamindars, ZABT, Zabt and Zamindars. Now, as I told in the previous class about the collecting of revenues from different people in the villages. So what happened here is, there are some people who are acted as a mediators in between the Mughal emperors as well as the villages in the kingdom. So they were the zamindars. So zamindars are the people who used to collect the revenues from the people of villages. So they used to act as a headman or the local chieftain. That means they're locally in that village, they are head because they had a lot of land with them. They are the powerful people. They were also considered as a powerful people. They were rich people. So they were the zamindars, who was an mediator between the Mughals as well as these peasants. Peasants means nothing but the farmers are known as peasants, and their work is to collect the revenue from them and hand over to the Jagirdars. Okay, and sometimes they have handed over the revenue to the Mughal empires directly also. Now this system of zamindari system is where the people here is having a like this family is having a hereditary basis. That means once the family, once the Zamindar's family, maybe the grandfather is a Zamindar, the next generation will also be a Zamindar, and so on. The next generation, the next successors will be the Zamindars there. So this is an hereditary basis. But whereas in the Mughal Empire, these people were not hereditary basis. These were all the people which were selected by the people of Mughal Empire. But Zamindars are the people who were not selected by the Mughal Empire. These are the rich people in the villages, who are the local chieftains or the powerful people in the kingdom. So they are known as Zamindars. Now, so what happened is, during Akbar's time, what happened, his revenue ministers, so on, when they were in a work of collecting the revenue from the villagers, what happened is, Akbar's revenue minister, revenue means income, so his income minister Todar Mal, Todar, Todar Mal, Todar Mal, his revenue minister started a survey of having a data of 10 years of data of the crops, of what crops is being grown in the kingdom. Okay, so to which particular crop how much of the tax is to be collected. Okay, that means at what time it has to be collected, and to which individual crop of how much of amount is to be collected. For example, if it is maybe, if it is a cotton maybe making of woolen clothes, or making of clothes and all, cotton may be used. Okay, but same amount of tax may not be collected for the rice and paddy there. Okay, so there the crop difference is there, as well as the tax difference is also there. When the Todar Mal, that is the revenue minister of Akbar, he has collected or gathered the data for the 10 years from 1570 to the 1580. Okay, this helped these people to collect the data, and this was the main income for them. This was the main source to collect the income because they had a strong information of collecting the data. So this is known as zabt, zabt, zabt. Having an information and collecting the revenue from the peasants were known as zabt. So this is what the zabt and zamindars were. Now these zamindars, sometimes they were along with the Mughal empire. That means whatever the Mughals have like they wanted, they enjoyed their power, as well as they have also listened the words to the Mughals also. So whenever the Mughals were visiting to their village, they their work is to collect the revenues before only, and they used to, whenever these people used to visit, they used to hand over the amount either to the Jagirdars or to the Mughals also. Now, and these are the people who usually they used to represent the village, represent the local people of the village also. Now these zamindars, there were some zamindars where they are against to the Mughal also. So there are some zamindars who are against to the Mughals also. So those zamindars were very much helpful for the people of peasants there, because the problems that peasants face, that is, if there is no proper rainfall, there will be no agriculture, proper agriculture. If there is no proper agriculture, from where they'll get the money from, where's the revenue they get from, isn't it? If they, whatever they are producing, they have to sell them in the market. If it is not sold, how they are going to earn? If they are not earning, how they are going to pay the tax? So what is happening? The land will be taken back, either will be occupied by the Mughals or will be occupied by these kind of powerful zamindars. So this collecting of so what happened here is, so there are some special zamindars who were very good, and they were along with the peasants, they were helping these peasants, and they were against to this Mughal administration. So they said that they wanted these peasants to work on their own fields and to earn their money and keep it with themselves. So they are such zamindars also. So when the Zabt system was started, no, it did not work out in the places of Gujarat and Bengal. So in these places, the local people did not allow, that means the zamindars, the local chieftain did not allow to collect the revenue. Okay, in the places of Gujarat and Bengal, this system of Zabt system did not work out. So this is what about the Zabt and the zamindars. Now we'll have a close look on the Akbar's policies. Now Akbar is one of the greatest ruler in the Mughal Empire. Okay, so what Akbar wanted is, when he ruled, he wanted all the different religions to be in one single roof. That means he wanted all the religions to be together. That means unity in diversity that we follow today, he wanted the same concept in that time also. So when he has introduced such policy, he has told the same thing to his friend. Okay, his friend Abul Fazl. Okay, one of his friend Abul Fazl. Even he was the member in his own court. In his own court, Abul Fazl was one of the members. So he has expressed his feeling of bringing all the religions together. There will be no inequalities among the people. Let all the religions, Hindu, Muslims, Brahmins, Christians, everyone bring in one under, and let everyone have the cultural festivals as well as the religious matters. Let every people have like togetherness. So he has expressed the same to his friend Abul Fazl, and he has written a book, Akbar Nama. Okay, so he has written a book, Akbar Nama. So what did he write in Akbar Nama? He has written that Akbar wants all the religions to be together. He wanted all the religions to be together, and Akbar wants universal peace. Universal peace means all the universe, that means everyone of different religions should be moving with a free mind, with a peace of mind, with a happiness, with a joy, that everyone in his kingdom, he wanted everyone to be happy there. Okay, so the word universal peace is known as Sulhi-Kul. Okay, Sulhi-Kul is the word for the universal peace. So he has written in Akbar Nama, a book known as Akbar Nama, written by Abul Fazl, the friend of Akbar as well as the member of the court. He has written that Akbar wants a peace where universal peace where he wanted all the different religions together. Now when Akbar has an interest of introducing such concept, what he did is he has learned different religions also. That means what customs or what traditions are followed in every religion. He has given importance to every religion. He has closely understood about what religions, why it is followed, and every knowledge he has started gathering. Okay, he has much interest of different religions, to get ideas about different religions. He had a lot of interest. Okay, so this concept was also followed by the Jahangir and Shah Jahan also. This was also followed by the people of Jahangir and Shah Jahan also. But when the Aurangzeb has come, when the Aurangzeb has come, he has divided everyone and he has given importance only to the Sunni Muslims. That means only the Muslim community. This is one of the community in the Muslims is known as Sunni Muslims. He did not have an interest in other religions, where he has given much importance to the Sunni Muslims here. Okay, so next what happened is, so what happened, slowly now the Mughal empire was all going in a successful way. Many other like in the Vijayanagara and Kakatiya we have seen, no, Marco Polo, Niccolo Conti, okay, Domingo Peace, some of the people who have visited their kingdoms and they have expressed also, isn't it? In the same way, Mughal kingdom was also visited by different people from other countries, and when they have come, they have seen that the Mughal is a powerful kingdom as well as the wealthiest kingdom. Okay, the lot of wealth is seen in the Mughal empire, as well as a lot of powerful armies were also seen, and the administration of Akbar was very much appreciated by the people. Okay, the policies were written in the book of Akbarnama was also being appreciated. Okay, in the same hand, they have also seen the policies or the administration system what this person Aurangzeb has done. So among all these rulers, Aurangzeb was the only person who has a cruel kind of minded. Okay, so he was the only person who has given only importance to the Sunni Muslims and did not worry about the other religions who are there in the kingdom. And he was very much cruel that like many of the zamindars were like these revenue collectors, or people who used to collect the revenues. They were so much cruel that they used to even beat, or they used to even like hurt the people of farmers, poor farmers, and they used to collect the amount of tax from them, and they used to give it to the officials like chieftains like this zagirdars also. These type of all things happened during the time of Aurangzeb, and many of the farmers have faced a lot of problems. Now, when the time of zamindars were there, like when the mansabdars were there, I told in the last class that mansabdars have started reducing the number, because lot of chiefs have come. That means lot of jagirdars have started collecting lot of revenue, because when these jagirdars were left in one place for more years, when one certain place was, when these mansabdars were sent to one particular place, after 1 year what happened is these main mansabdars have moved to other place also, so they left these jagirdars in that place. So what happened is they have settled down and they have started collecting more and more revenue from the farmers. So this is how the number of mansabdars were reduced. So in the beginning there were 8,000 mansabdars, which has reduced it to 445. So that percentage, like the number of mansabdars were all reduced. Okay, this is all happened in the time of 17th century. Okay, then what happened is the percentage of income, that means previously when the Babur time was there, it was the earning was that means the total whatever the revenue they collect, that means the tax they collect, out of that they used to, these mansabdar used to earn a salary of 61.5% of salary they used to earn from the revenue. Whatever the revenue they are collecting, revenue means here tax, whatever the tax, revenue means still an income. Okay, so whatever they are collecting the tax, in the tax this mansabdar salary was also there. So 61.5% of salary was included in that. But when this mansabdars were, when the number of mansabdars were reduced, because of this the salary was all reduced from 61.5% to 5.6%. Now understand the situation what mansabdars were having, where the 61.5 is and where the 5.6 is. It has all drastically reduced. Okay, and these people have started showing less interest also. Then finally, when this but even though somehow these Mughal emperors managed of collecting the revenues here and there, most of the places were growing in a systematic way, smoothly they were all collecting the revenues. Slowly the development was all continuing. So what happened during in the beginning of the 18th century, before the time of 18th century, that means during the 17th century, the kingdom was very much powerful with the armies. They were very much wealthier, that means they had a lot of wealth with them. Okay, and many of the kingdoms were under their hand. Many of the Indian kingdoms were, or most of the places were ruled by them. So all these were happening. But during the 18th century, slowly the places have all that means the Mughal empire has all come to an, that means slowly it has all the power was all reduced, it has declined. Most of the places, again the chieftains, that means the local people have started showing their powers, like this Jagirdars people as well as these people have started showing their powers and they have settled there, and so on. The Mughal empire has all come to an end there. Okay, and but in some of the places like Hyderabad and Awadh, still you can see, but not Mughal, but you can see the Muslim rulers, like Muslim ruled places like Hyderabad and Awadh are such places. Okay, so this was all about the class today. So children, in this lesson we in this class we have learned about the Zabt and Zamindars. We have learned about the Akbar's this Akbar Nama, that means a book which is known as Akbar Nama, which is written by Abul Fazl. Okay, where he described the policy of universal peace, that is Sulhi Kul. Okay, and we have discussed about the during the time of 17th century what has happened with the people of Mughal empire, as well as in the 18th century their powers have all declined and slowly they have come to an end. So this was all about the lesson, the Mughal empire, from the 7th standard textbook. Okay, lesson number 14, 7th class. We have finished this lesson. Okay, I hope you have all understood this lesson very well. We'll meet up in the next upcoming class. Till then, bye children, thank you, have a nice day.